Lock in all sports, all plays, all 5% best bets from now until Super Bowl 56 on February 6, 2022 from your favorite WagerTalk handicapper for only $1,200. That's versus the regular price of $19.99. This discount comes out to just $3 a day. As an added bonus, customers who take advantage of the Super Bowl to Super Bowl All Access Pass will also receive $200 in wager bucks. Use it any handicapper at WagerTalk over the next 12 months. Just head over to WagerTalk.com, pick your favorite handicapper in the experts drop-down menu, and lock them in through next year for only $100 a month.
And we are off and running. Welcome in. Here it is, another edition of the NBA Tip-Off Show. It is powered by WagerTalk.com. We got 9 games on the slate tonight, and 4 of those games we're going to go ahead and break down for you right now. And those games will include Rockets OKC, because I'm a glutton for punishment. We got the Clippers taking on the Cavs. That must mean Brian Leonard's on the show somewhere. Knicks taking on the Chicago Bulls. And then interesting, coming off the heels of a dominant win last night, the Pacers taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. Guys, thank you so very much for stopping by with us here today. Sorry about the late start, but we're ready to roll. Let's bring in the fellas right now. We've got, oh, look at that, Brian Leonard. Brian Leonard is in there. He got into a bit of a bar brawl last night we're going to hear about, I'm sure. I think he went over to Tony Finn's house, and that was the end of that. We've got our good man, Tony Mejia, back in action here today. He's hovering in that middle spot right now, and of course, picking up the rear where he belongs, that will be Stevie Merrill. That's 2 R's and 1 L. So, Brian, let me start with you. Is that a tattoo? Like, what do you got? You get Tony Finn's name? Like, what is that going on, my man? How you been, and what do you got going on?
Well, the other day, the girls put up a TikTok when they did a little bit of dancing and making their picks, and it was really cute, and I thought they did a really nice job. And then I heard a rumor that some of the guys were going to do it, Teddy Covers and some of the guys, and including Steve Merrill. And the whole time I'm thinking, this is going to be ugly. So I took the knife and I put it next to my throat. I was about to ready to end it.
Oh, no.
Because I thought they were all going to come out there dancing. And luckily, they didn't dance. They did something else. But I still had a little hole in my neck from where I stuck the knife. So I didn't kill myself, but I do have a little bit of a bruise.
See, there is a problem, Brian. TikTok is a young man's game, dude. It's a young man's game. I'm just saying. It's a different out. Steve Merrill had to all the kids in the neighborhood, including his young son. He had to recruit everybody to figure out how to even get the app downloaded. So don't worry about it. We feel you, my man. What do you got going up tonight at Wager Talk, if anything?
Yeah, we've got a nice group of games. We've got a hockey game. We've got a college basketball game. 2 NBA plays, 58.8% the last 365 days in the NBA. So a full card for us. We had a nice card yesterday. Unfortunately, 3-3. Looking to do much better tonight with our 4 plays on tonight's card.
Well, we know you're here because the Cavs are on the card here. We're going to break that down for you here in just a second. Tony Mejia, my man. Listen, TikTok's a young man's game. We feel him. But how'd you do last night, and what do you got going on tonight as a follow-up?
Yeah, I do not have TikTok on my phone. So, I mean, I'm right there with Brian. What's going on with me? I've got a couple NBA plays in. I've got a couple college basketball plays in. We'll have more after I'm done taping these. And it seems like a MASH report on these NBA games tonight. Everybody and their cousins sitting out. If you're a point guard and your last name starts with a W, you're out. Russell Westbrook, John Wall, Kemba Walker, all resting. So have to set my FanDuel lineups as a result. I'll get some bargains. Looking to kill it tonight. Did okay yesterday, as we talked about on the college show. Got killed on the Marquette fade meltdown down the stretch. But my best bet in the NBA show did come in easily with the Portland Trailblazers going over in their contest.
Yeah, that was great, man. 2-0 there yesterday on the show with Tony Mejia. So we're going to make it another profitable night. And he was, in fact, on our contrarian play of the day yesterday, unlike Ski. And you see where Ski is right now, right? He ain't here with good reason for that. Steve Merrill, rather, 2 R's and 1 L. We haven't seen you a little while here, man. I think it was last Thursday or Friday when you were on the show. So what do you got going on? What's happening right now, Wager Talk, for you?
Yeah, I split out on the best bets last night in college hoops, so now 34-14 on the season. Still having a nice college basketball season, but won both of the free plays that I gave out on Wager Talk today, yesterday. 4-0 the last 2 weeks in those free college basketball plays on Wager Talk today at noon Eastern, and those are even part of that 34-14 record. As I say, the bad news is I did the show yesterday. I got roped into that TikTok video, but it might turn out it was good news. I didn't realize I saved a life yesterday by doing that TikTok video.
Yes.
So glad to hear you're still here, Brian Leonard, and I do what I can. And I like to consider myself in that young crowd, but I am still having a little bit of trouble getting the app on my phone. I have to be completely honest. So I guess I'm middle-aged for that reason.
Yeah, Paul Bry had the paring knife and was like, oh, this is not working out here. So we're here for you, Bry. All right, Steve, Tony, Brian, let's dig into it. Let's start with our contrarian game and play of the day. Now, you had mentioned it there, Tony, that it's kind of a mash unit, like you said, all up and down. So the actual lines in a lot of games here today on the board have kind of been all over the place, but there was one game that stuck out, obviously, that was, one team getting all the tickets, all the money, all the love from just about 6 a.m. Eastern time this morning. And I can't believe I'm going back to the well with this one, but the market is the market, and they're telling us the Houston Rockets and the OKC Thunder is the way to go again. This game, guys, opened up 5.5. I'm seeing 7s, even a 7.5 popping up now. All the money, all the love coming towards OKC, which we had on Monday. But unfortunately, I think they lost they lost as soon as the first quarter was over, actually. But here they are. They find themselves in a situation, second game of this back-to-back. I don't know, Brian. Let me start with you, my friend. Thunder now at 7.5. It keeps going up. You willing to go contrarian and think that the Thunder can get it done in game 2 of this mini 2-game set?
I don't know. It's hard to go against the Houston Rockets right now. Ever since the trade, the defense has been terrific. They're number 3 now on the season defensively, number 1 in the last 2 weeks. It's been a team that's been dominant. Point differential on the season, they're up to number 12. Last 2 weeks, number 2. This is a team playing really good ball. They're moving the ball amazingly. They were really low in amount of touches before the trade. Now they're moving the ball a whole lot better. It's interesting that the player that went to the Nets is having a great job moving the ball there. He couldn't do it in Houston. So Houston's a team that anytime you lose a star player and you're able to have some success, the team really builds into that and buys onto it. And right now, Houston's, if there's anybody in the league that can't wait for a game to be played, it's the Houston Rockets. We'll find out tonight if that line's gotten a little too high, but at this point, I don't want to bet against Houston, so that'll keep me away from this one.
All right, so he's not going contrarian. John Wall out. I think George Hill has been injured. They were questioning whether or not he'd be back here. Tony Mejia for OKC. What do you think, man? Second time a charm here with the contrarian play on OKC tonight?
Well, I bet you the Rockets won't hit 11 3-pointers in the first quarter. You got that going for you. And they won't hit 28 for the game. But look, we got no John Wall and no Victor Oladipo tonight for Houston. No Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for Oklahoma City. So my best bet is at the end of the show is going to be on the total. But as far as the point spread here, if you're backing the Rockets at a price that continues to become inflated, you're really banking on Christian Wood continuing to dominate. Mason Jones, the Arkansas product, who, when given a chance, has really been productive, figures to play major minutes in the Rockets' backcourt. And for the Thunder, you're with no George Hill, to answer your question as far as whether he's going to play or not. It's Théo Maledon, the French rookie point guard. He's going to get major minutes for OKC. So a lot of things, a lot of moving parts in that contest for you guys seeking to play out this contrarian play.
Yeah, it's worked out. Well, at least they found they have themselves a player there in OKC. But I don't know, Stevie Merrill, 2 R's and 1 L here, man. It kind of bit us on Monday, thinking that this was eventually going to get too overinflated to keep backing Houston, but here we are tonight, 7. You willing to go contrarian, or are you taking Houston at this point?
Yeah, I mean, like Brian said, it's hard to go against the Rockets. They're playing well. And by the way, I don't think it's a coincidence that they're a better team now without James Harden. First of all, I've always been anti-Harden, especially in the regular season, because he is a defensive liability. He does sometimes pick it up in the playoffs, but I think he's one of the most overrated players in recent years, especially for that MVP talk every year. And then on top of that, he was a huge distraction from the get-go, wanting to be traded. So I think it makes a lot of sense that Houston's playing better. Yet I do think this is a spot where you could fade that hot Rockets team because it's one of those quick turnaround revenge situations. And the one good thing about COVID this year in the sports world is all these back-to-back college and pro basketball matchups we get, because I think as a handicapper, you get some great zigzag opportunities like we often see in the playoffs in the regular season. And this looks like one of them. I like the fact that Oklahoma City got blown out in that game by 30 points. It's a quick turnaround, same venue, just one day in between. If Houston's going to have a letdown, I think tonight's a likely spot. I know they've won 6 in a row. They're at Memphis tomorrow in a no-rest travel situation as well. So it'll be the third road game in 4 nights tomorrow. So I think this is a good spot to maybe fade that red-hot Rockets team. And the fact that we're getting some extra line value now, like you said, Joe, going from 5 to 7 with the contrarian play makes sense to me. The Thunder would be the way I'd play it.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. Well, we'll get to the total. Tony Mejia, of course, later on in the show has got a best bet. He's going to be looking at the total in this game, but I'll just say 14-4 so far in the season with these contrarian plays, and it is definitely the spot on the card that we wanted to look at here tonight to see if that comes to an end, this hot streak for Houston. So we're going to go, give us the points here tonight with OKC. Now, talk about another interesting game here. Let's take a look at this Cleveland Cavaliers-Clippers game tonight, because this, too, is a very interesting line here throughout the day. It opened up somewhere around that 9 mark there. It's kind of 8.5. I'm seeing 8s. It's kind of the Clippers we watched last night lose to the Brooklyn Nets, who are our contrarian play here. But, Tony Mejia, let me start with you here. Clippers back-to-back, Cleveland. They were great. They were hot. Then all of a sudden they had a couple of lull games here. Where do you see them tonight in this matchup against the Clippers?
Well, Paul George is still crying about not getting enough foul calls in the Brooklyn game last night. And with him, and he still is. He's very upset about it. And with him and Paul and Kawhi Leonard slated to play, as far as everything I've seen, maybe the Cavs are going to be in for a tough time. Interestingly enough, Patrick Beverley sat out the first half of this back-to-back and may play tonight. So if he plays tonight, that obviously changes things a little bit in that, it'd be nice to have him against Darius Garland and Colin Sexton. But if he doesn't play, that means it's going to be Reggie Jackson defending, and he's not at all the level of defender that Beverley is. So you might want to look at the over from that standpoint if the Clippers are going to give Cleveland an opportunity to get their offense going and will obviously score effectively themselves. Andre Drummond is questionable. If he doesn't play, more shine for Jarrett Allen, who played really well the other night while Drummond sat with a back issue. So, yeah, this is one where I'm thinking about laying the points with the Clippers if everybody's a go, especially Beverly. But it would have to be right before tip-off where I get a determination on whether Drummond sits or not.
A lot of those guys yesterday here for the Clippers played big minutes, like 35 minutes apiece, all those guys in that game last night. They kind of emptied the tank. But, Steve, that was only their second loss in 12 games there for the Clippers. They have won the 3 games on a no-rest situation thus far this year. Are you backing them? Are you willing to lay the number here?
Yeah, I mean, Tony kind of summed it up for me. The whole thing with the Clippers in recent weeks, and it'll probably be the whole regular season, is really who's in the lineup and who's not. Look at that game last Friday. When I was last on the show last Friday, Joe, they played the Magic. They opened as a 4-point road dog, and then it closed as a 6 to 7 point road favorite from the start to finish that Friday, based on who was in and out from the initial opener. An 11-point move. So that's the kind of uncertainty we've been dealing with the Clippers this season. Like Tony said, if everybody's in the lineup, I would be on the Clippers here off the loss. I like playing Class A teams off a loss in focus spots against bad teams. Cleveland's now gone under 3 straight. After 6 straight overs, they've gone under their last 3, and that's because they've shot 42% or worse in 2 of those last 3 games. They're still not a great defensive team in several different categories this year. You look at their numbers overall, 108 allowed, which is decent, but they give up 46% shooting. So the Clippers, if they show up focused and healthy, should be able to win this by double digits. But it's not a good spot otherwise. On the road here to end out this 6-game road trip, just too much uncertainty for me. Game I'll be staying off tonight for that reason.
And Brian, we always turn to you here when it comes to the Cavs. Third game in 4 nights, but they do have, obviously, that day of rest in there. Outside of the 400 points they gave to Boston there, the 141 or whatever it was, defensively, they've been pretty good here. We got a total that continues to creep up. Where are you on this game here tonight?
Yeah, reading the quotes from the Nets players yesterday, they couldn't stop the guards for the Nets, for the team they're playing tonight, the Clippers. Beverly needed to show up last night. If he was healthy enough to show up last night, he makes a difference against the Nets. Now, granted, Cleveland does have a lot of speed in the backcourt, but if he does play tonight, I don't think he'll put in a lot of minutes. If I was them, I'd just rest him. They're going to win this game regardless, as long as the rest of the guys are playing and they're fully healthy. Drummond sitting out, I think that's going to be a common occurrence for Cleveland. They're not going to play Drummond unless he's 100% because they're trying to trade him. And obviously, if you're playing an injured player, he's not going to be playing nearly as well. So Cleveland will only use Drummond, I believe, from this point on if he's fully 100%. You talked about the Cleveland defense. For most of the year, the Knicks and the Cavaliers were the two best defensive teams in the league. Now, if you look at year-to-date, Cleveland's 7th in defense, and a lot of that has to do with the last 2 weeks. It dropped down to 19th in defense the last 2 weeks. Sexton's back. He's not a great defensive player. He's more of a scorer. The offense is, they're trying to run a little bit more, but they're struggling right now offensively. They got, of course, those new guys coming back to the lineup in Prince and in Allen, who I think are really good for the future of the Cleveland Cavaliers. But I just don't trust Cleveland right now. When you're playing Minnesota 2 games and you're outscored in those 2 games combined, I don't want them against a San Antonio team, a Clippers team who is off of a loss. So it's the Clippers are nothing for me. But the Clippers would have to have all their guys playing for me to be able to play them. So probably once again sitting out.
You know what it is? The Clippers, they've got a big presence on TikTok. So you're kind of breaking out in hives right now, and I get it, Bri. It's the Clippers. You are good to go there, but it's an interesting game, and that number continues to hover around right around that 9 point. So we'll see how that goes. The other game here that we're going to take a look at is a repeat of a game we just saw a couple of nights ago, that being the New York Knicks taking on the Chicago Bulls in this one. And if I'm not mistaken, it opened up at 3.5. There has been some love for the Knicks. I'm seeing 2s in a lot of places here, guys. 217.5 currently on the total. So, Stevie Merrill, let me start with you, my friend. You watched any of this game a couple of nights ago. Chicago looked obviously like the more dominant team, playing well. They've done a great job of covering, too, as of late against the number. But I don't know. The Knicks are getting a little bit of love in this one in Chicago. How do you see it?
Yeah, what's interesting, Joe, is they'd covered 8 out of 9 and 11 out of 13, but then lost 3 straight until that Knicks cover. So, like the last 3 weeks or so, they have a really strong point spread record. But it does look like maybe that's starting to diminish against. Because once again, though, it didn't matter. The Knicks, of course, failed to win and cover the other night, as you mentioned. But this is so similar to the game we talked about at the Open with Oklahoma City, Houston. Bulls looked like the better team the other night, but they only won by 8 as a 3.5 point favorite. So it's not like it was a blowout. But this is another one of those quick turnaround revenge situations I like to look for. I always default to the team off the loss, and I do think the Knicks make some sense here to bounce back. They're a very good defensive team this year, as we've established. They can be inconsistent on offense, and that is, by the way, why they lost this game on Monday night. And as is often the case now in modern college basketball and the NBA, it comes down to 3-point shooting, just like it comes down to turnovers in the NFL. The Knicks were outshot from the 3-point line. They shot just 21%. Bulls shot 32.5%. The Bulls made 5 more 3-pointers. That's 15 extra points from the 3-point line. They won by 8. So I think you could definitely make a case for the Knicks to bounce back tonight in the quick revenge situation.
Yeah, I mean, Brian, you trust the Knicks offense enough to bounce back in this situation on the road? Who do you have tonight?
I don't trust the Knicks offense, but I also don't trust the Chicago defense. I agree with what's been said here. I had these two teams rated virtually equally. One team shot very well from deep last game. You would expect the opposition to do better this game. The line's basically where I thought it should be in this game, so I don't think there's much value there. I think New York, I could see why the New York money's coming in. I do want to mention, I do have TikTok on my phone. It's called A Clock.
Very good, Brian. Very, very excellent. Can you hear us back there in the 50s? I got you. Don't worry about it. Come here, talk to me. Tony Mejia, talk to me, my friend. This does seem, like Steve's saying here, it does seem like an opportunity for the Knicks to shine through. They're certainly getting the money right now in the market. You agree with that move?
I mean, I think it's interesting that a lot of people are on the over here because the Knicks have had one of the best defenses and certainly play one of the slowest tempos. And Tom Thibodeau back in Chicago, this is a game he'll want to win. They know that they have to slow down Zach LaVine, one of the NBA's leading scorers, but they've got multiple guards that they can throw at him. Austin Rivers is healthy enough to make a difference on the defensive end from that standpoint. And we have a situation where Chicago is down Wendell Carter, their starting center. So they've been using Thaddeus Young as a small ball five. Now, small ball is interesting because most people, when you think small ball, you think of up tempo and guys guard oriented offense. But you can milk a lot of clock playing small ball, and you can switch everything on the defensive end. So I have no lean on the side here because I don't want to trust the Knicks on the road. And Zach LaVine could bite you if you're on the side. But I kind of like the under here, especially since it's continuing to be bet up. It started at 216.5. Now I see a couple of 218s out there. If it gets to 219, I might sneak in on the under.
Yeah, I mean, 212 the other night with a lot of points still left on the court. So it'll be interesting to see where this line continues to move to. It also, though, there's one more game on the board here, our overtime game we want to touch base on. But before we get to that, guys, I do want to remind you, all three of these gentlemen, best bets up, locked and loaded, ready to go at WagerTalk.com. It's a hell of a weekend, guys. There's this game on Sunday. Got an old man, you got the young kid, you got a lot of props, you got a lot of ways to make money. And it would be a great opportunity for you guys to grab yourself a 7-day, 30-day all-access package with all of these guys here right now and never miss a play. You don't have to worry about it. Just lock yourself into an all-access package. Steve, WagerTalk.com. Tony Mejia, WagerTalk.com. And, of course, Brian Leonard killing it in not only hockey, but, of course, basketball as well, and the big game on Sunday. So head over to WagerTalk.com and check out the packages available for all three of these gentlemen while we check out our overtime game of the night. And it's interesting, some of these totals kind of all over the place here, but how about that number one game there at the top, Indiana and Milwaukee? Interesting enough, this opened up right around that 231 and a half mark. I'm seeing 233 and a half in some places right now as this total continues to rise. So let me go to you, Brian. Let me start with you here. It's interesting that the Pacers offered that big win last night against Memphis at home, taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm sorry, in Milwaukee, I believe this game is. 7 p.m. Eastern time start. Is it just an over or forget about it for you in this space?
I lean that way. Milwaukee's blown out Indiana at home last year, both times they played them. So Indiana's had this game circled. Usually when I'm looking at a team that has a game circled, I'm looking towards the under. But when you take a look at these offenses, I've got Indiana ranked 8th on the season, 8th the last 2 weeks. Milwaukee number 1 on the season, 3rd the last 2 weeks. The Milwaukee defense was 15th, but they're only 21st in the last couple of weeks. They struggled defensively. It wouldn't surprise me if a lot of points are scored here. But like I said, I normally try to put myself in the position of the team seeking revenge. How are you going to do it? You normally do it on the defensive end. Can they stop Milwaukee? We'll have to see. They're an average defensive team. But Milwaukee being the home team, they usually dictate the pace and they want to run. So I'm kind of torn on this, slightly into the over here, but probably won't get involved.
It's funny. I think, what is it, last 7 games of the Bucks, Tony, the total has hit 240 or higher. So we know the points are coming. Not great defensively. They're only 7-5 too during that stretch. So when you look at this game, is it over or not for you in this one?
I think it is, but it's interesting because the Pacers and Bucks obviously play 4 times a season, and over the past 15 games in their meetings, we haven't seen either of them combine to eclipse 230 points. So it's higher than I would have it originally, especially with Indiana coming in on the second night of a back-to-back. But it's higher than it would ordinarily be. And yeah, Milwaukee can score in bunches. But I wonder if somebody doesn't know something. And the fact that Indiana could be without Miles Turner, and that's going to be my button on this. If Turner doesn't play, then yes, give me the over, because he's one of the best rim protectors in the league. I think he leads the league in block shots. So if he's out there, it's a field day for Milwaukee in the paint. But yeah, Indiana very efficient. Domantas Sabonis was obviously tremendous last night. Malcolm Brogdon returning to Milwaukee. He should be engaged. So I think if Turner doesn't play, I'm going to back the over here.
Yeah, it's interesting, Steve, and yeah, it looks like he's still questionable, Miles Turner, at this point. But why? I don't know. Are we to the point now where the market has pushed this, that there's only one way to look, maybe, and that's to the under, given the circumstances with Indiana on a back-to-back?
Well, I do think the line's a little inflated, but both teams have gone over 4 of their last 5 games. So they're playing excellent offensively. So it'd be over or pass for me. I'm not using this game tonight, but once again, I would only play the over or I would pass, because both teams in good form offensively. And there's also a matchup we need to talk about. Pacers' biggest weakness this year has been probably the worst 3-point defense in the league. They're finally under 40%. They've been over 40 for most of the year. Now they're at 39% allowed. Milwaukee shoots almost 40% from 3-point range, probably the best overall, most consistent 3-point shooting team. So that's a really bad matchup for Indiana. It's another reason it'd be over or pass for me in this one.
All right, over or pass in that one. All right, that leaves one more game to talk about here from these gentlemen, and that, of course, is the buzzer beater, the best bet segment here, and you guys know how it works. We're going to throw 60 seconds on the clock. You do it at what you want, as long as you give us a best bet and don't go over to 60 seconds. Otherwise, you'll hear the buzzer and you will go mute. All right, let me get the TikTok ready here. Hold on one second. All right there, Bri. You ready? Good. Best bet here, Bri. 60 seconds on the clock. TikTok. Go.
Let's go with the Minnesota-San Antonio game here. I talked about the Timberwolves a little bit earlier as we were breaking down the Cavs game. Timberwolves haven't won a road game since their second game of the season. They almost pulled it out last time. They were out there against Cleveland in Cleveland, lose that game by 2, but they outscored the Cavs 207-204 in that contest. So Minnesota's coming in with a little bit of confidence, but I'm not buying it. This is still the team. The last 2 weeks, they're 30th in the league. The full season, they're 30th in the league defensively. They just don't have the guys in there without Towns to play quality defense. San Antonio, this is just a terrific spot for them. 5-game homestand. They got blown out by the Memphis Grizzlies the last 2 games at home. They go and play in Houston on the 6th. They got plenty of time for that. So they're very focused on this game right now. I think San Antonio blows out Minnesota tonight.
Whoa, look at that. Saving some time on that TikTok clock. I love it. All right, very nice. No Aldridge, I believe, too, for the Spurs on that one. I believe he's already been ruled out. So, all right, nice job. Let's go to the man in the middle, Tony Mahia. All right, Tony, 60 seconds on the clock. You crushed it on the show yesterday. Buzzer beater, best bet, man. Go.
Well, I'm going back to that Thunder Rockets game that nobody's going to play in and riding the under, because I honestly don't know if he's going to initiate offense. But we've got on one side, you would think that John Wall and Victor Oladipo would be the floor general. Both are sitting out. So it's probably going to be Mason Jones, the rookie from Arkansas I mentioned earlier. You're going to see more of Eric Gordon with the basketball. Ben McLemore will probably get some touches. All those guys pretty inconsistent outside of Gordon. Gordon's actually a pretty solid perimeter defender. And on the other side, Maladone, he's going to get the ball in his hands more often than not. Luguentz Dort, super streaky. Same thing with Hamidou Diallo. all those guys really suspect outside shooters. So from that standpoint, you had an astronomical score when the Rockets and Thunder played the other night because Houston hit 28 three-pointers. I'm wondering where the scoring is going to come from on both sides here. Give me the under. I don't think odds makers envisioned all these guys sitting out.
Did you see the wrist action? Did you see it? Very, very nice. I'll tell you where the points are coming from. The pick and roll. You and Leonard are rolling right now. Fantastic, my friend. Very nice. Very well done. All right, Merrill, 2 R's, 1 L. Time for you to dazzle us. As long as you remain seated, I don't see why we're going to have a problem here, but we'll put 60 seconds on the clock. Come on, Stevie Merrill. Follow it up, brother. Here we go. Best bet. Go.
Well, I mean, first of all, I'm on the show again this Friday, and as we know, it's always casual Friday in the Merrill household. So that's when you have to be more worried about me standing up, just to be completely honest. But we already talked about this game. I'm going to look at the Knicks-Bulls game again, so I don't need much shot clock time at all, like I normally don't. Quick reminder to check out TikTok. If you love to play TikTok show, if you love TikToks on your clock like Brian Leonard, then you will love the TikTok app. And Prez, Teddy covers, Carmine, and I, it involves some football and an injury. Anyway, check out Twitter, check out TikTok. 30 seconds is when I like to start my dribble, as you know. We talked about this game earlier. New York Knicks +2 will be my best bet. I love these quick turnaround revenge situations. Knicks just lost the other night. The much better defensive team in revenge mode. And it was because of three-point shooting, as I said earlier. Chicago was +15 points from three-point range, often very random. They only won by 8. And with the extra 10 seconds to go, guys, I'm going to make up for yesterday's TikTok video. I'm open.
Oh, nice.
Almost hit me in the nose. Take it.
Look at that. Get him with the buzzer anyway. That was outstanding. Very, very nice there, Stevie Merrill. Is that a pumpkin? Who threw you a pumpkin? Where do you have a pumpkin in February? What's going on with you?
I want to get Wager Talk and copyright problems with YouTube, so I found the most generic, neutral, asexual ball that they ever made.
What? I was dodgeball. It does look like asexual a dodgeball. It is asexual. Only you would have an asexual basketball and bring it on the damn NBA tip-off show. You know what?
2021 Joe Ranieri. Asexual basketballs and TikTok is where it's at.
Tony Finn called. He wants his ball back. All right, guys, one more recap here. Let's go over it one more time. Brian Leonard at the top going Spurs, laying the 8.5 here tonight. Tony Mejia, Rockets, Thunder. Where are those points coming from? Under 222.5. Also keep in mind, the Rockets Thunder game is our contrarian play back in the Thunder, grabbing those 7 points right now. And Stevie Merrill, he going Knicks, baby. Take them Knicks and that very strange ball of his and get the hell out of here. My goodness. Make sure you get Brian, Tony, and Steve, WagerTalk.com. Best bets are up now, guys. Go lock them in. 3/7/30-day all-access packages available at WagerTalk.com. So on behalf of Brian Leonard and his TikTok, Tony Mejia giving us nothing. Did you see that? Nothing but net here tonight. And Steve Merrill with his large, unidentifiable orange ball. We appreciate your time, guys. Make sure you hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner. Hit the subscribe button here on YouTube, and make sure you come back and join us again tomorrow. We get to do it all over again. So best of luck with your plays, guys. We'll wrap it up and hit back here tomorrow. Good luck.
Each and every Thursday, sportsmemo.com goes back in time, and you can daily pick packages priced at only $5. And yes, for those wondering, that includes 5% best bets, normally